one of the things that I've always tried to do, and again started this in patrol, but really got into it working with informants in the drug task force was I break down the barrier right away. And one of the things that's unique about drug task force work is you're not in uniform. And there is a barrier there that you have to break through that's a little bit tougher when you're in uniform, which is, you're in plain clothes and you're talking to someone, right? Because they're looking at you and they're seeing the uniform and they're equating that to whatever past experiences or their fears or whatever else versus if I'm just a guy dressed in normal clothes. But having said that, like I always tried to, and I had the luxury of sometimes a jail ride in my county is an hour to the jail. So I have a lot of time to talk and establish that rapport. But one of the things that I try to do is one, let them know I'm not judging them, that we all make mistakes, and that, this is this moment with them and whatever led them to being in the back of my patrol car does not define them as who they are as a human being. And by saying those things, that breaks down a lot of barriers. And a lot of times I'll just say, hey, tell me your story. How did you get to where you are right now? And just having that humanization to just get to their level and have a real life conversation. um, I've gathered a lot of valuable information by the end of that conversation before we go to the jail. And the power of having a pack of smokes in your patrol car for you patrol guys out there and giving someone a cigarette, I can't tell you the amount of information that I've gotten from just having a pack of Marlboro Reds in my patrol car, a pack of Camels, and somebody one last smoke before they go into jail. So, but again, it's like, having that real, hey, I'm not judging you, I'm not looking down on you, I've made mistakes in my own life, like I have, friends and family that have had addiction issues that, I've seen through, so I can relate to what they're going through. And making it that I'm just not, some uniform that's got a wall up, but like I be real with people. And that has served me well in, being able to establish those relationships and getting information out that otherwise there's no way would have happened, that have led to, solving cases, or, getting into, you know targets that norm we wouldn't have gotten into otherwise. And then I think that's something too, where if you're a more experienced officer, that you share that information and get that with your newer folks, and passing that down the line as part of your legacy in law enforcement.
Yeah, it's important for our senior guys to, and it's hard to get them to engage sometimes. Burnout's a real thing. Um, some of them just, they're not, they want you to learn on your own. But I am, I'm of the opinion, like, if I can save you the trouble of going through some of the BS I had to go through, getting to where I'm at, I will try to save you the headache. So it's an uphill battle as a supervisor now because I just promoted. So I'm yeah, I'm a fucking supervisor, which is crazy. Um, still got the immaturity of a 12-year-old. I think farts and burps are funny still. So it's for me, I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, if I can help you cut corners, have shortcuts in your career in any way, I'm going to help you do that because that is invaluable information that you're either going to have to learn from getting burned or somebody's going to tell you and save you the trouble. Now, the problem being is getting some of the crusty vets and convincing them, hey, take the new kid under your wing. Go, they're not an FTO, they're not anything, but I'm just like, hey, he wants to learn dope. Go teach him dope. Hey, he wants to learn, how to do DWIs. He's real passionate about that. I'm all about reinforcing a newer officer's passion and helping them, you know, shape that. Because it may be like me. I thought I kind of liked narcotics and all that stuff, and going down that rabbit hole. I was thinking about getting on our narc group and all that stuff, and then I just something in it. I kind of I got it out of my system. I don't know what it was, and I just like, I want to try something different. So for me, it wasn't a thing for me, but it's a hard thing to do for us as cops to open our mouths to either one, try to help another officer, try to save them going through the pains that we went through, because not everybody's receptive to taking advice either. Have you run into that a lot, like trying to give advice when it wasn't wanted?
I feel like the culture of our agency and kind of the surrounding agency is, I mean, you have the universal of like guys talking shit, at
Oh yeah,
coffee about other guys behind their backs,
for
and
sure.
that's something that I've really tried to be counterculture to, of like, hey, like if you got a problem with that guy, like go talk to him, because
Yeah,
if you don't talk to him about it, he's never going to change, and we're going to be sitting here 10 years from now and you're going to be talking the same shit, telling the same stories about that dude. But if you can go talk to that guy, so like I really try to preach like, hey, let's get over our own egos, let's have some humility, and we have to work with our brothers and sisters. So like if there's a hard conversation that needs to be had, or you need to debrief a call that didn't go well that you aren't happy with, like you need to go do that. But like that's one of the things that I've really, and I've had the unique perspective of a sergeant, and then I was a chief running half of our department for 14 months, and now I'm back as a sergeant again. And that's something that I really try to pass on to the younger agency, because when I came into our department, I mean, while I was on FTO, my FTOs were talking shit about everybody on the department before I even had a chance to work with people. So it was like I was already tainted before I even had the opportunity to give someone a fair shake. And that's kind of always been stuck in the back of my head, that I tell people is like, hey, you might hear something about somebody,